Hi guys, welcome to my channel or welcome back to my channel where I teach beginner dancers how to dance in the club and different social settings. I'll show you how you can make your movements look even better. Okay, enough talking, let's go. There are certain things that you can do and work on to make the movements look better. Not just the hip movements, just any movements. So the first thing that you have to pay attention to is the size of the movement. Let's say, going back to our hip roll, you're doing the hip roll and it kind of looks like this. Several things are wrong here. First being that the hip movement is way too big. So first thing I want you to pay attention to is the size of the movement. When you practice, even when we do hip isolations, there's a little like pre-hip workout exercise, you can exaggerate the movements. You can make them bigger because we're working on loosening up the hip joints. We're loosening up, all the muscles around the hips. We're trying to increase the range of motion. So yes, then the bigger movements are better. But when you're dancing, when you're on the dance floor, it's always smaller movements the better. So compare this, which of course I'm able to do it. I have the range of motion. So, you might think, why not do that on the dance floor? But compare this to this. I mean, it just looks more effortless, right? Let's take a dip, for example. We're starting going to the right. This would be the exaggerated version. Unless you like that look, then go ahead. But I would go for this, much smaller, half that size, even less. What else do we do? The triple hip hit, boom, boom, boom. You're not going to go like that. You may injure somebody that's dancing next to you. Small, small, 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2, right? So first thing to pay attention to is the size of the movement. Second of all, even though we're doing the hip movements, so you may not be paying attention to what the feet are doing, right? Because they're not even moving, but sometimes you'll start and your stance is just too wide. That will affect any movement that you're doing, the hip roll, the dip, the half circle. I mean, look, you can clearly see the difference. So find the comfortable stance. Usually we say it's about shoulder width apart or hip width apart, not wider, okay? So experiment with what feels good as far as keeping the feet apart, and then try those movements again with different, different options. So hip roll, half circle would be this, then dip, down, up, down, up, down, up, and then our triple hip. Boom, 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 boom. So pay attention to how wide your feet are. As an option, you can also do those movements with feet together. Sometimes when you're in the club, usually ladies, you're wearing a dress, so you don't want to be like that. So you can have the feet together. Just keep in mind, all those movements will feel totally different. So the hip roll will look something like this. To the left. It's more difficult for the hips to move like that, so this may take a little bit longer to practice. But this is the hip roll. This would be our dip. This would be the triple hit. So just experiment with it and see what feels comfortable and what looks best for you. Last but not least, this is the most important thing that you have to keep in mind. All the movements any movements will never look good if it's just a mechanical action and you're just going through the motion. Even though you do it correctly, if the movements lack feeling, they will never look good. And this is the hardest thing to teach, because I don't think you can teach a feeling. Feeling just makes the movement look so much better. You can be going through the motions and doing everything I told you to do or any other teacher told you to do, and still your movements will look very stiff and unnatural. That's because this is just a physical part, the mechanical part. all the movements become something else if you add feeling to them. So I can't really put it in words, as you can tell, but let me show you with music how this would look, and you'll be the judge. Tell me which option you prefer, which one looks better. Let's try it. Option 1. I'm doing everything right now. The movement is small, my hip is moving continuously, it's a smooth movement, my feet are apart, not too wide apart, the upper body is loose, and still the movement looks like this, right? So this is option number 1, and this is option number 2. Do you see the difference? So in the second option, I put a little bit more feeling into the movement, meaning I was enjoying the song, I was enjoying the movement, I wasn't just going through the motions and making it correct, even if it was maybe like sloppy, you know, once in a while, it still looked better because I looked like I was enjoying the movement. Maybe that's a good way to put it. So you could see that I'm into the movement that I'm doing, and that's very important. Every movement that you're doing, you have to feel, you have to enjoy it, right? Only then it will look amazing. It takes time, so what I can tell you is that you can practice with the songs that you like. That helps a lot. If you're doing the movement to a song that you enjoy, it will show. Okay, but again, this will only happen, this is like the next stage. So of course you have to have the motion first. Whatever movement that you're learning, make sure you have the movement down to a T, and then the next stage would be to start enjoying it. All right, you guys, that is it for today. Thank you so much for dealing with me, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.